Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the council meeting being held in the council chambers for this Monday, 25th of September. We'll start with the opening affirmation and acknowledgement of country. We gather to represent the people of Albury who have entrusted us with this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, wisdom and common sense. May our personal values give us honesty and courage to serve our community effectively and with respect for all. We would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people as the traditional custodians of the land that we meet upon today and pay our respect to the elders past, present and future, for they hold the memories, culture, tradition and hopes of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that contribute to our community. Item 2, a reminder that this council meeting is being webcast and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to being recorded and webcast. Please ensure that if and when you are speaking at this council meeting, that you are respectful to other people and use appropriate language. Albury City accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this council meeting. An audio recording will be made for administrative purposes. Item 3, conflict of interest declarations received and disclosure of political donations. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Mayor King. One conflict of interest declaration submitted by myself as CEO relates to a pecuniary interest, the CEO performance review, item 17.1, CEO performance review 2022-23. And the action I intend to take is to leave the meeting when the matter is discussed. Disclosure of political donations and the requirements of the Environmental Planning and Assessment Act. The Act under sections 10.4 requires a person submitting planning applications or submissions regarding a planning application to disclose any reportable political donation and or gifts to any local councillor or employee of the council. Reportable political donations include those of or above $1,000. In dealing with development applications, councillors need to take into account specific planning matters contained in the Act. Accordingly, the provisions of section 4.15 of that Act are set out in the Council Officer's report, detailing planning issues to be considered. The Local Government Act 1993, section 375A requires that a division be called whenever a motion for a planning decision is put at a meeting of the council. Planning decision means a decision made in the exercise of a function of council under the Act, including a decision relating to a development application, an environmental planning instrument, a development control plan or a development contribution plan under that Act, but not including the making of an order under Division 9.3 of Part 9 of that Act. Thank you, Mayor King.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. CM4 apologies. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you, through you as the Mayor, to move the recommendation as the motion that Council receive, note and accept the apology of Councillors Thurley, Betteridge and Cameron and grant leave of absence for the meeting.
Thank you. Councillor Baker.
Second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. We'll put the motion, councillors. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM 4.2, attendance by councillors at meeting by audio-visual link. There is no councillor on audio-visual. CM 5, mayoral minute. There is none. CM 6, action plans. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you, through you, to move the recommendation as a motion that the following action plans be received and noted. 1, actions complete for noting only. 2, actions awaiting responses from external parties. 3, actions in progress. And 4, long-term issues more than 3 months, noting that there is nothing. I think it's the external parties too. No content.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Councillor Glacken. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. Happy to second the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to it at all?
Thank you, no.
Councillors, any speakers for or against or questions? Otherwise, we'll put that motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM 7, confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move the motion that the minutes of the council meeting held on Monday, the 11th of September, 2023 at 6 p.m. be confirmed.
Thank you, councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to second that motion.
Thank you. No questions or comments? Happy to put the motion, councillors. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM8 reports from community forums. There are none. CM9 notices of motion, notices of rescission. There are none. CM10 presentations and deputations. We have none. CM11 reports and minutes of committees and working parties. CM11.1 minutes of the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting held on the 14th of August 2023. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Sustainability Advisory Committee meeting held on the 14th of August 2023.
Thank you. Councillor Bowen.
Happy to second that motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to open debate?
No, thank you.
Councillors, any speakers for or against or questions? If not, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM 11.2, minutes of the Albury Airport Advisory Committee meeting held on the 16th of August 2023. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Albury Airport Advisory Committee meeting held on the 16th of August 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Councillors, any speakers for or against? That we will put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM 11.3, minutes of the Sports Albury Advisory Committee meeting held on the 30th of August 2023. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move the recommendation that that council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Sports Albury Advisory Committee meeting held on the 30th of August 2023, and that council B, that council accepts the committee recommendation that the three projects listed below be funded the amount identified through the Albury City Sports and Recreation Grants Program, totaling $16,238, one being $799 awarded to Albury Wodonga Ultimate Frisbee for major equipment, and number two, $13,228 to North Albury Cricket Club for the cricket net upgrade. And item three, East Albury, what have we got? $2,211 for the East Albury Tennis Club for CCTV installation.
Thank you. Councillor Bowen.
Thank you. I'd like to second that motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan, do you wish to open debate?
Yes, please, Mayor King. Firstly, I would like to highlight the change to the grant funding model, which is now available all year to apply with the aim of meeting the needs and the demands of the different sporting groups as they arise. I'm proud to announce that the recipients of the awards that were up on the screen this evening, all of these will support the growth of these clubs in our community. I would also like to highlight the opening of the Wagara Trail, which is a standout, giving community access to 12 kilometres of sealed track through our beautiful landscapes from Wonga Wetlands, where you can gaze to the soaring red gums on beautiful Wiradjuri country, and well done to all of those involved in that project. And finally, I'd like a nod to the Albury Riverside Precincts works, which are completed with a grand opening happening on the Saturday, the 7th of October from 10 to 2 with a free family event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Any other speakers for or against? In that case, happy to put the motion. Those for? Those against? And that motion is carried. CM 11.4, minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor King, to move the recommendation as a motion. That council receives, notes and accepts the minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 6th of September 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to the motion at all? In that case, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Oops, CM 12, documents for sealing. There are none. CM 13, Officers' Reports for Consideration. CM 13.1, Draft Albury City 2022-23 Financial Statements. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Mayor, to move the recommendation as a motion that Council A receives and notes Albury City's draft general purpose and special purpose financial statements for the year ended 30 June 2023, and B, authorises the Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Chief Executive Officer and Albury City's responsible accounting officer to sign the statement by councillors and management in accordance with section 413(2)(c) of the Local Government Act 1993 and the Local Government Code of Accounting Practice and Financial Reporting prior to the submission of Albury City's financial statements for audit. Thank you.
Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Councillor Glucken, did you wish to speak to it?
Just to highlight the extensive work undertaken by our staff to be able to bring this to completion, and that the process this year, as I'm also part of the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, we noted that the process this year was much more smooth, and we would like to congratulate the staff for their efforts taken with this. Thank you.
You, Councillor Glacken. Any other speakers, councillors? Happy to put the motion in that case. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. CM 13.2, the June quarter budget review. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just getting to the right section to double check I don't have any notes. Right. Thank you. To move the recommendation as a motion that council receives and notes the analysis of the Albury City's financial performance for the 2022-23 financial year compared to forecast.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. First of all, do you want to speak to the motion? There is a question, Councillor Glacken.
Reserve my right of reply, if I may. Thank you.
Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mayor King. Through you to the most appropriate member of staff. I've just got a concern or a question about the underspend on page 49.10. 149,000 wasn't spent mountain bike audit and strategy implementation, but the wording after that says environmental assessments have taken longer than forecast, which has reduced current year expenditure. What environmental assessments and what area are we talking about in this, please?
Thank you. Mr. Finlayson.
Through you, Mayor King. Thank you for the question. If it's okay, I'll take that on notice and provide a response to all councillors.
Ms. Kerslake, can you answer that? Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. We'll get Ms. Kerslake maybe in a position to answer that one for Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mayor King. The 149,000 referred to with regards to environmental studies was for Nalcan Hill. So there was approximately 3 years worth of cultural heritage and environmental studies that were required so that mountain bike maintenance and upgrades could occur on the hill.
Sorry, Councillor Baker, follow up?
No, that's all.
That
Thank
one?
you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Glacken, did you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you. I really wish to highlight the changing field in which we're working in local government, and it's not so different to private enterprise where the cost of everything is increasing, and so it's interesting to note one of the knock-on effects of that is the cost to replace some of our infrastructure, and therefore our forward planning with depreciation has also likewise increased, and that's had an effect on our budget as we move forward. And I think that's important to note that everything is shifting and changing as we move forward with the budget. And that was one of the aspects that has been highlighted to us as a council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. We'll put the motion. Councillors, those for, those against? That motion is carried. CM 13.3, Concreting Services Council-wide Panel Contract number 23/01487. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor King, to move this recommendation as a motion, that council accepts the following tenders for contract number 23/01487, Concreting Services Council-wide Panel Contract, estimated at $2 million, including GST, for a 2-year period commencing October 2023. And it has 5 companies listed: A, Hutchinson Civil Proprietary Limited; B, Final Form Contracting Proprietary Limited; C, Newbro Curb Proprietary Limited; D, Tony Harrison Proprietary Limited; and E, JV Concreting. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Bowen.
Thanks, Mayor King. Very happy to second that motion.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Did you wish to say open debate or speak to it?
Just to highlight that this is one of the interesting contracts that council has. It enables a number of companies to be able to supply to council over a 2-year period. So it makes the processing of the smaller jobs and works that will be coming forward over the next 2 years much more of a smooth process, and it enables a number of businesses to be able to undertake that work into the future. So it's a good way that council has to enable a number of suppliers to be able to take on council contracts, smaller components of this larger contract. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Speaker for, councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. And just to reiterate what Councillor Glacken has said too, great to see this happening, and also 4 of the 5 awarded are local businesses, both in Albury and Wodonga. So very happy with that.
Thank you. Any other speakers for or against? Happy to put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM 13.4, Bungambaratha Creek Line Assessment and Naturalisation Feasibility Report, Public Exhibition Submissions. Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor King. I move that Council A receives and notes the feedback provided by the community through the public exhibition period for the draft Bungambaratha Creek Line Assessment Report Attachment 1, and B endorses the final version of the Bungambaratha Creek Line Assessment Attachment 2.
You, councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, please, just briefly. I'm really pleased to see that the community have supported this vision for the renaturalisation of Bungambaratha Creek, an idea that's underpinned by expert environmental science, as we have in the extensive assessment report. I'll be supporting the endorsement of the assessment report and associated action plan. I look forward to their implementation.
You, speaker for, councillor Glacken.
Thank you very much. Yes, I support this recommendation as a motion this evening, because the report highlights the acknowledgement that there are only some sections of Bungambaratha Creek that are able to be returned to more of a natural state, because and that's because it highlights the volume at times of water that is taken through this channelization. And it also confirms that there are some areas that will need to remain as channelized to ensure that it can control that volume of flow. But it enables us to have the areas where that is not the case to be returned to what we would see as a more natural state. And for the areas that do have that high volume, other works may still be able to happen. So I think that's a good outcome for our community. It provides both ends of the spectrum in that one creek area. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Glacken. Speaker for, councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. Firstly, I'd like to say that it's wonderful that it's possible to reinvigorate Bangambortha Creek, not in its entirety, but in sections as highlighted by Councillor Glacken. It is important to get rubbish mitigation right, and we seek to capture pollutants before they enter the creek and river. And I'm glad to see that there is money allocated in this budget just to do just this, which is great. So there's 75,000 allocated to the creek in 23-24 budget. According to the report, the high velocity in some parts of the creek make naturalisation difficult. However, some very interesting strategies were listed as possibilities and opportunities moving forward. Naturalisation would improve the biodiversity and aesthetic values across the course of the creek. Meeting the key actions identified in the action plan will require a long-term commitment by Albury City Council, and grant funding will need to be sought to offset future management costs to bring the project to its reality. I do have a follow-up question, if that's okay at the end of that. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Just in regards to the conflicting master plans for JC King Park and Fredericks Park, will they now be modified based on the recommendations in the report? Specifically, JC King Park, it said in the master plan originally there was supposed to be, the drain was supposed to be covered up, but it's saying that's quite conflicting in the report.
Ms. Kersley?
Thank you, through you, Mayor King. I might have to take that one on notice if that's okay, Councillor Callaghan. That project is led by another team leader, so I'm not able to provide a response to you for that one now, unfortunately. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Any other speakers for or against? Councillor Edwards, did you wish to close debate?
Oh, no, thank you.
All right, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you. CM 13.5, proposal to integrate Albury Social Infrastructure Strategy and the Albury Open Space Strategy. Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move the recommendation as a motion that council endorses that the integration of the social infrastructure strategy and open space strategy into a single social infrastructure strategy.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Bowen, did you wish to speak to the motion?
Just briefly, thanks, Mayor King. I think this is a great idea to save on time, to save on meetings, to save financially as well too, from a budgetary point of view as well, and just makes it much more cost effective to let the community members also make submissions on a single public exhibition as well process. It just streamlines this. So I think it's a great cause.
Thank you. Councillors, any other speakers for or against? Happy to put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. CM 13.6, the draft economic development strategy 2023-2027 public exhibition submissions. So Councillor Glacken, thank you.
Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion. And my screen's gone blank. To move the recommendation as a motion that council receive and note the submissions received during the public exhibition period, and B, adopt the draft Albury Economic Development Strategy 2023-27.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Glacken, did you wish to open debate?
Yes, very sorry, I've lost my screen. That's right. Yes, the Albury Economic Development Plan is a significant plan because it works in conjunction with local businesses, the Chambers of Commerce, but it's also dealing with that bigger picture of the businesses who are very much broader based, and it's also the regional business as well. And this, the report highlighted the GDP and how that had increased significantly. And so that's my memory of what I read last night. So I'll just have to leave it at that for now, but thank you very much. Yeah.
Technology can get the best of us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Glacken. Any other speakers in relation to this? Happy to put the motion, Councillor Glacken?
Yes.
Okay. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. CM 13.7, the draft contaminated land policy. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move that A, that council endorse the draft Albury City contaminated land policy to be placed on public exhibition for 28 days, and B, if no submissions are received through the public exhibition process, that the Albury City contaminated land policy be adopted and placed on the public policy and procedure register. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. We'll second that motion.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan, did you wish to speak to it at all?
No, thank you.
That's fine. Councillors, any speakers for or against? In that case, we'll put the motion. Those for, those against? That motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. CM 13.8, the draft engaging Albury strategy. Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you. I've got my computer screen working again now. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion. Yes, checking I've got the right one. That Council A endorses the draft engaging Albury strategy and draft engaging Albury implementation plan to be placed on public exhibition for a minimum of 28 days, and B, if no submissions are received, adopt the Albury City engaging Albury strategy and engaging Albury implementation plan.
Thank you. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin, did you wish to open debate?
Yes, just to highlight a few aspects. It's fabulous that our community wish to engage with us and wish to provide their suggestions on a number of things that happen in and around their city. It's great to have community involvement, and it's realised by the staff. It's appreciated by the staff and has been for some number of years, many years. They have always worked very hard to engage our community, to receive feedback when we are developing the various draft plans. And more recently, the staff have come up with a number of creative ideas. And so they don't have just one, as was 20 or so years ago, one version of community consultation, but they go out in a number of ways to seek that feedback. The most recent successes have been out touching base with the community at various stalls. That can be at public events, but also in the supermarkets, etc. But one of the key drivers seems to be social and online feedback. And so the Have Your Say is an important part of that. But the staff have also highlighted other areas that they're trying to enhance. And it's they're also working towards being able to provide direct feedback to the people who have provided the input in the first place, which is great, because that's something the community have told us, that they want to know what happened to their suggestions, what happened to their input into the consultation that we're undertaking. So thank you for the staff for such a creative way and taking on board that the community really do want to have a say. They really do want to participate and continue to work with us to create such a fabulous city. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gluckin. Councillor Baker, Speaker 4.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd also like to support this draft engaging Albury strategy, but I do note that it's important that we actually listen to the feedback. It's important to go out and get it, but also not just tick a box and really take notice of what the public have to say. And I'm really interested in the submissions that might come back over the course of this, how we can do things better and maybe more creatively to reach more people. I know going on site is really good, and sometimes social methods are good too, and Have Your Say, but it doesn't seem to catch that many people. So we've just got to be creative in how we get to our community all the time and continually evolve and do it better as we go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Any other speakers for? or against? Councillor Glaskin, did you wish to sum up debate?
Yes, thank you. So lots of positive things about the way in which the staff have are working continually to try and create creative opportunities to increase that engagement. And Councillor Baker quite rightly points out that we need to listen to what our community is telling us, noting that it's a reminder that there are 56,000 people in our community, and there are potentially greater than that number who are part of our regional community. There are greater than that number are part of our regional community. Unfortunately, it's a timely note that we can't take on board 56,000+ suggestions if they are not, if there is not a theme amongst them. So part of the feedback that we're given by our community, part of the work that then needs to be done by the staff is to look at themes so that they can try and distill the information we're given and use that in a positive way. And I think that again highlights the scope of the work that our staff have before them and have been working towards for many years now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Glaskin. We'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thanks, councillors. CM 13.9, the scope and timing of the 2023-24 Albury CBD promotional special rate levy review. Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. I'd like to move that the council endorse the proposed scope and timing of the promotional special rate review as referenced in this report.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
I do. Thank you, Mayor King. The purpose of the promotional special rate levy is to collectively market and drive the vitalisation of the Albury CBD as a retail, recreational and key service destination. And these funds are paid directly to the Albury Business Connect to auspice this service. Albury Business Connect is one of Australia's leading regional chambers of commerce. With over 400 businesses making up their member base, they are the voice for Albury business community. This special rate review is timely given the last review was pre-pandemic. The value of networking and professional development opportunities, regular updates and communications, advocacy and ongoing support to the businesses grow and the community thrive. This cannot be taken lightly. This review is an opportunity to highlight the successes of the Albury Business Connect in recent years and continue to meet the needs of the sector. I'm curious to see the findings in relation to the possible expansion of the promotional special rate model in Lavington and Thurgoona for retail and commercial businesses operating in those CBD areas. We want Albury to be a retail destination for our neighbouring regions that will attract new and repeated visitations and see our economy grow. I look forward to the review and business feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Question, Councillor Baker.
Thank you, Mayor King. It's a question and a comment and maybe a suggestion that I think the author noted that there might have been some ambivalence to filling out surveys. And one of those things is saying it's not that onerous on a business to pay the rate. But I think we might be a bit wrong there. It is quite expensive. Businesses are aware of it and they expect a bit of bang for their buck. So I think they might just be fatigued with surveys rather than not considering that much of an impost in the dollar value. Thank you. That was my only comment. Otherwise, I support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Baker. Any other questions or comments or speakers for or against? Councillor Callaghan, did you wish to close debate?
Fine, thank you.
In that case, we'll put the motion. Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. Thank you. CM 13.10, Draft Financial Assistance Policy, Public Exhibition Submissions. Councillor Edwards, sorry.
Okay. I move that Council A receive and note the submissions received during the public exhibition of the draft financial assistance policy, and B, adopts the draft financial assistance policy and places it on the Albury City Public Policy and Procedure Register.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin.
I'm happy to second. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, did you wish to speak to it?
Yes, really pleased to see that the general criteria for evaluating requests for financial or in-kind assistance from council includes consideration of how an initiative links to the community strategic plan towards Albury 2050, how an initiative supports equity, diversity and inclusion in our community, and how an initiative supports social, cultural and environmental sustainability. Council has an obligation to spend and allocate public money ethically and sustainably. With consideration to the general criteria in the policy just mentioned, I do not believe that council should fund organisations, events or projects associated with gambling products or services, including electronic gambling machines. These kind of projects do not support social sustainability or the mental and physical well-being of our community. So I look forward to the new policy guiding council's financial assistance program going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards. Speaker 4, Councillor Callaghan.
Thank you, Mayor King. By adopting this policy, council will be able to support meaningful initiatives within the community to deliver projects that enhance the social, cultural and environmental experiences and fabric of our wonderful community. Some examples of successful recipients this year of our community organisation support were Orana Community Centre, Thurgoona Community Centre, Westside Community Centre, Parklands, Albury Wodonga. And for the community infrastructure funds, the successful recipients were the Fruit Fly Circus with a contribution to the Borderville Studio Theatre, Splitters Creek Portico, West Albury Preschool and Westside Community Centre. These were in addition to the pre-existing multi-year agreements, all of which add to the tapestry and vibrancy of our community. These organisations give back to our people and make a lasting difference to the lives of many. The next round of applications open in early October, and the wonderful team that work in Community in Place at Albury City are more than happy to support if you have any questions relating to the application process or criteria. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Callaghan. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to close debate if there's no other speakers for or against?
Happy to put the motion.
Put the motion, councillors. Those for, those against? That motion is carried. Thank you. CM 13.11 Draft Risk Management Policy, Public Exhibition Submissions. Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you, Mayor King, through you to move the recommendation as a motion that Council A receive and note the submissions received during the public exhibition period, B, adopt the draft risk management policy, and C, place the risk management policy on the public policy and procedure register.
Thank you, Councillor Gluckin. Councillor Callaghan.
Happy to second the motion, Mayor King.
Thank you. Councillor Gluckin, did you wish to speak to the motion?
No, it's a statutory requirement and it's an administrative process. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other speakers, we'll put that motion. Those for, those against? That motion is carried. CM 14, Officers' Reports for Noting. CM 14.1, Investment Balances, August 2023. Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you, through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives and notes the investment balances report for the month of August 2023.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Bowen.
Thank you, Mayor King. Second that motion.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Gluckin?
No.
Happy to put the motion if there are no other speakers. We'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. CM 14.2, the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee Annual Report 2022-23. Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you. On behalf of myself and Councillor Thurley, through you to move the recommendation as a motion that council receives and notes the Albury City Audit Risk and Improvement Committee Annual Report 2022-2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bowen.
And I'll second that motion on behalf of Councillor Thurley and Councillor Gluckin.
Thank you. Did you wish to speak to it at all?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
No other speakers for or against? Then we'll put the motion. Those for, those against, that motion is carried. Thank you. CM 15, Delegates' Reports for Noting. There are none. CM 17, Oh, not quite there. Oh, missed one. Sorry, I did. CM 16. Sorry, councillors. Notice of urgent business. Nothing there. Thank you. We will now move into CM 17, confidential matters. Councillor Glacken.
Thank you. Here we go. It's up. Thank you. Through you to move the recommendation as a motion that we council move into confidential to discuss items 17.1 and CM 17.2, as these are confidential items exclusive of press and public on the grounds that the matters relate to A, personal matters concerning particular individuals other than councillors themselves, and G, advice concerning litigation or advice that would otherwise be privileged from production of legal proceedings on the grounds of legal professional privilege. And this is with reference to the Local Government Act 1993, numbers 30, section 10A, 2A and G.
You. Seconder, Councillor Bowen.
Mayor King, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Are there any statements or submissions from the public regarding the reasons as identified for these confidential items, CM 17.1 and CM 17.2? There are no submissions. Councillors, do we wish to proceed with the motion to move into confidential? Those for? Those against? That motion is carried. The motion to move into confidential, as you've just heard, has now been carried. For our live stream viewers, we will now say goodbye. You can find the outcome of this confidential session in the meeting minutes, which are published on the Albury City website within 2 business days.